Last night, Politico, the left-wing Politico in Washington, D.C., ran a story that President Trump was gearing up to lift sanctions on Russia, in particular having to do with the Nord Stream pipeline. You remember those pipelines. Had Politico spoken with either Secretary of State Marco Rubio or the president's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, they would have known that the story was bogus, and they never would have run the story. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, calling the story unequivocally false and journalistic malpractice, saying if Politico has an ounce of integrity, quite a proviso, they will fully retract this piece of fiction. I'll call it fiction, too. Not exactly mincing words there from Marco Rubio, nor did Witkoff mince words, who said there isn't even a kernel of truth to this story. Politico was played by their quote-unquote sources yet again. It's embarrassing that they print this type of fake crap. His words, not mine. Virginia. Boy, it's different being a Republican in office than it is being a Democrat, isn't it? You know, and still, you know, the left is going to try to blame Donald Trump for Putin invading Ukraine. Isn't it great?
Well, it feels like the left, so often the leftist media is just salivating for Trump to make a mistake. I mean, they're just waiting around for some new way that they can jump on him and criticize them, which is why so many Americans are turning to alternative news outlets and abandoning outlets like Politico and CNN and MSNBC, is because they recognize there's a political agenda here that is driving their reporting. And I mean, the same with The Atlantic. I think it's going to be really fascinating to see what comes out of that conversation. I think you all are right. Trump is doing this interview because he loves that confrontation. He thrives off of that. And yet that article is not going to sway any of the American public because they know where Politico stands. They know where The Atlantic stands. No one reads The Atlantic.
The Atlantic, which is co-owned by a Democratic mega donor, Laureen Powell Jobs. And what I think is also important here is that, and Jason was right, Trump did say he would have peace on day one. But I think it's a good thing that that's not what happened, because Trump is saying whether it's with Russia and Ukraine, whether it's with Iran, whether it's with Gaza, Trump obviously would like the Nobel Peace Prize. I think everyone understands that he's not going to get it because the Nobel Peace Prize is basically for anti-peace. It's for mostly horrible people to receive nowadays. But he's saying, I'd like for there to be peace in all of these situations, but you know, look at Iran. If you guys are straying, we're just going to bomb you. Shalom Hamas, we've talked about that as well. So peace for peace's sake sounds nice, but I think the Trump administration is understanding, hey, that might not be the best. And I think Rubio's right, you know, call out Politico all day long. But you're seeing, and I'm frustrated by this sometimes, you're seeing top Trump administration officials this week at a conference run by Semaphore, which I call Shemaphore, because it's funded by the Chinese Communist Party. If you hate these outlets and they lie about you, you don't need to go to their little swanky conferences that no one goes to.
Yeah, but to the credit of Secretary Rubio and Ambassador Witkoff, they're responding quickly, number one. Number two, there's still very much a deep state and a problem with the leaks that are coming out of
I totally agree.
The State Department, the National Security Office. I mean, the advisor's office, they still have really, I think, some serious issues with what they're dealing with, where sources continue to talk to the media, providing them with these types of information. But at least now they have a response mechanism quickly.
No, I totally agree with you. And, you know, you're seeing a difference between sources and unauthorized leaks, right? You're seeing the DNI with Tulsi Gabbard literally prosecuting unauthorized
But those sources are
leakers.
the leaks. I mean, they're the leaks.
There's a little, you mean unauthorized leaks of like classified information, I'm saying.
Or
like
unclassified information like what we're seeing here with these potential sanctions.
Totally agree. My point is just, okay, if Politico is going to lie about you, you know, you don't need to like continue feeding them exclusive stories, whether they're authorized or unauthorized.
Well, you know,
the Trump Goldberg interview, by the way, will be the most read edition of The Atlantic this millennium.
Well, that's undoubtedly true, but because of Trump, not because of The Atlantic.
Exactly.
To be clear, yes.
And of course, since we're talking about the Nobel Peace Prize, Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize, and then he used the military to attack more countries than any president since World War II. And Crimea was attacked under Obama, and then the rest of Ukraine attacked under Biden, and the liberals will end up finding a way to blame Trump for the whole thing.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.